After a slightly more relaxed race last week at the known of Silverstone, we head to one of the most challenging courses for multiclass on the service, Fuji International Speedway. Will the previous 3 races here give our drivers an edge in surviving today, or will the challenges of this winding course take their toll? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 10 of the iRacing IMSA Vintage series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lindgren, and with me in the booth is Craig King. In the truck today are our directors Christian Deploy and Daniel Costello, and they're using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. A youthful track in iRacing, Fuji has long been a mainstay in racing games for decades. To find out why this place is a recurring visit, let's take you down to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Fuji International Speedway. Built right at the foot of the picturesque Mount Fuji and a mere 1.5-hour drive southwest of Tokyo, it certainly resides in a prime location. Having been around since 1967, this place is perhaps most well known for its presence in the classic video game Pole Position. However, its modern incarnation looks nothing like it did back when that game came out in 1982. At just under 3 miles, or 4.5 kilometers, its 2 layouts have 14 and 16 turns, which is significantly more than what it started with. Without the banking that used to be a part of the first and final corners, its most notable feature nowadays is the front stretch that covers nearly a full mile. The turns that make up the other half of the track make for quite a technical challenge. It includes everything from the long sweeper of 100R to the tight confines of hairpin, to the finicky back and forth of nets. This place hosted Formula One back in the 70s and again in the later 2000s, but it has a much stronger history hosting endurance racing. Sports cars are still a heavy staple here. That's not to say open-wheelers don't still call this place home, though. Lower-level formulas, as well as Japan's popular Super Formula, make frequent visits. From humble origins in sim racing's history to arriving 40 years later on iRacing, Fuji has been a fan favorite for a long, long time.
Well, Craig, this place has a long, storied history, but how are the IMSA Vintage cars going to handle it today?
Yeah, well, it's a classic track in Japan. Fuji has seen a number of changes through the decades, and this layout was not around back when these cars drove, but the starting sections are similar to that of the 80s. GTPs, they won't enjoy the slower corners, but from Coca-Cola down to the hairpin, the downforce will be a great ability to have. The Nissans will enjoy the twists and turns. The problem, though, will be those slower corners, which is the whole of the final section of the track. So expect to see the prototype drivers suffer at the end of the track with those slow rising corners with those blind apexes. Now, the GTOs, however, they will struggle at those final sectors, but they'll be able to carry more speed. Not allow them to get the better of the corners, and that will benefit because with those slower corners, they can get off the exit faster with a better exit speed. Now, for both classes, they will have to pay attention to the Dunlop corner because it's no chicane today. So that corner will now almost be medium speed. But one mistake, you'll find yourself off the track or down on exit speed. Multiclass. As Adam said, it's hit or miss around here. The drivers in the past have expressed concerns around here. Now, with the speed differences, expect most of the overtakes at Daichi and the hairpin. But also expect to see some of those excuse me moves today by the Nissan in that final sector. But as I said about the speed differences, some drivers may get caught out by it. Adam, what length of track, though, is the longest straight on an active track in the world? Now, in the real world, if you overtake early, you might lose position at the end of the straight. So today, really, we should be expecting to see a few trains out there today. And the last I checked, the bullet train doesn't go up to the mountain.
No, it doesn't, but the Audi train definitely makes an attempt into turn 1, let me tell you that much. But let's take you down to our points championships. Jacob Reed had his first race outside the podium that was not a DNF last week, and that puts him a little bit closer to Jack Wells, who scored ahead of him. Jack Wells is 32 points back with Seamus Power a distant 56, but Farron Grau is not too far off of Seamus at this point, still looking for that podium, and Cal Young is close behind in 5th. Then it's another ways back down to Brendan Lim, who's in a close battle with Ilka Kodasalo and Ardo Iamaki for that 6th position, and Henning Schwebig and Antti Lepisto are not too far off either, rounding out the top 10 in the GTP driver standings. But what about the GTOs, Craig?
Well, in GTOs, drop weeks are now in action, and that means that Van Hicks would have had a 37-point gap. Now he's got a 35 5-point gap. So all to play for. But Valenteus at 197, is it going to be like Don Bradman's overall average in cricket? Because he wants the perfect season, and he had that P2. He's not going to get that perfect season unless he gets another victory. Rest of the championship, Noel Lundberg not here this week. He's on another mountain. He's in P3. He should be safe. Javier Del Olmo might be able to overtake him, but look how close it is between Del Olmo, Friesen, and Schuster to try and catch up to Lundberg. That's going to be a very good talking point for the rest of the season, rest of the top 10, as we usually say. It's so close at the bottom. Josh Brain is tying with Christopher Lesniak, who's in 11th. Then Martin Krajcik in 12th. You can't see it. It's just trying to knock into that all-important top 10.
So all to play for in the bottom reaches of the GTO Championship for sure. But let's take it down to our race details. It is round 10 of 12. We're closing in on the end of it here for the IMSA Vintage Series. Not long now to see who's going to win these championships. 40 minutes out there for these drivers with open setups. They can set up the car however they like or dislike today. No spare car and a drive-through at 17 incidents and a disqualification at 25. You don't see that often around here, considering how challenging it is to make these corners. And if you miss, you tend to miss drastically. But it is qualifying now for the drivers, and Raul Roches Guardia currently holds provisional pole position as Toga Hisada just pips him with the fastest lap. Weather out there is a 67 degrees in the air, 90 degrees on the track, so a baking sun out there up at the high altitudes, 32 Celsius on track today.
Now, last time we went to a Japanese track, it was Suzuka. Who won? It was Toga Hisada. Can he go and do another victory in his home country? Well, this man, one of the best open wheelers on at the service, well, open wheel drivers on the service, Jacob Reed, he's going to try and make a difference. And interestingly enough, do you notice a number 1 next to his name? Where is Valenteus? He's not here this week. This is weird, not seeing the number 1 car on, seeing the number 1 car on Jacob Reed. However, he's earned that, and he doesn't have the best first lap so far. He needs to find another 2 tenths if he wants to try and dethrone Toga Hisada.
Now, it's worth noting that Andres Valenteus' only non-podium, which was 12 points, got dropped. So this could be his second drop week, and he still could theoretically score a perfect season on points due to the 2 drop weeks per season. We're going to find out going into next week, I believe. But we're watching Jacob Reed, who's coming around. He's currently in provisional 3rd position, looking for a better time. A little bit of a challenging exit off of the final corner, but the run down to the line is quite long here at Fuji. It gives you a lot of time to make a pass on the final lap. Crosses the line with a 1:21.5, and that is not going to improve his position.
In fact, I don't even think it counts. I think he had an off-track there, so he's going to stay P3. H.A. Roper will come across into 12th. We haven't talked a lot about the GTOs. J.D. Rodriguez currently leading the way, and Javier Del Olmo manages to get up into 2nd place. Could not make that work. Andreas Schuster's going to come across the line. He gets onto the pole. Out of nowhere, he jumps both Rodriguez and Del Olmo. Very good time out there as well. And Lesniak, talked about him earlier today, he goes up. Interesting to see the speed differences down this straight, because, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, at the end of the straight, these GTOs might be getting close to those top speeds of the GTPs.
Yeah, they definitely do, but they have a much longer braking zone, and we've seen a lot of GTPs make late dives into turn 1. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers deal with that. Looks like Lesniak set up his car to be a little loose today. That's going to benefit him around these long sweeping corners, but it is going to lead to rear tire wear over the course of the race, which could lead to an even looser car towards the very end, especially with the high track temperature today. 90 might not seem that high if you're thinking about NASCAR tracks, but up here at this high elevation, especially with the weather out there of 69 Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 Celsius on track is quite warm. That is a large cut of the inside curb for Christoph Lesniak. And if that's the fast line, it's going to be epic to see drivers go through there today.
I've never seen anyone take that line before. Going to be very interesting. Here it is, turn 14 just done. Now into next corner, turn 15. Look how blind it is. We're on the other side of the cockpit here, so you don't exactly see it. And then final corner, Panasonic. It is so tough, and there is runoff there. It's raised. You don't want to go near that raised runoff because you see the sausage curves. So a really good exit out there from Christoph. Let's just see what he's able to do, if it counts, because, like you said, that was a very interesting cut there at the no chicane corner. It does count. It puts him all the way up into 8th, Now, if people have been watching, because you can now watch this season and qualifying, easier there, Christoph. You might want to hit the brakes. Yeah, it might be interesting to see if anyone's picked up on that line.
10-mile-per-hour wind coming out of the northeast for these drivers as well, so a little bit of a troublesome wind for our GTP drivers. It's definitely going to be affecting them as they try to make their way around this course. We're just waiting for qualifying to wrap up. There's about a minute left there in qualifying. But Craig, it's going to be a challenge out there for multiclass today. The GTPs are quite a bit slower around the sweeping corners than the the GTOs are quite a bit slower on the sweeping corners than the GTPs today.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be a big difference. We've talked about it before. We've been here 3 times, and each time the drivers have had those concerns with the multi-class aspect just due to those speed differences. And again, the first half of the track, it's fine. It's the classic layout around here. When you get to that final section from Dunlop all the way up to 13, 16 Panasonic, it's a Tilke track. It's been redesigned from Tilke. Not a knock at the man, but if you know a Tilke track, you know what it comprises of. And because they have to work on an elevated hill here, it just makes it so difficult just in general. So really going to be looking to see what happens there, because that is usually a danger zone.
Yeah, it is a danger zone, but we are about to get rolling for this race today. We've got Togo Hisada on pole position with Raul Rocha's Guardian next to him. Then we've got Jacob Reed lining up behind Hisada and Imaki lining up behind Guardia. Row 3 goes to Miguel Cuncha Martin. And we've got Farron Grau next to him in 6th position. Cal Young in 7th and Laust Olsen in 8th with Brendan Lim and Fernando Serrato rounding out your top 10. And then we get down to Jack Wells in 11th position with Carlos Peralta in 12th. We've got AJ Roper on row 7 next to Aitor Santos Galindo with Ilka Kodasalo and Kevin Parrish in row 8. Row 9 is Ryan Minzoff and Davide Ricciardi, and then we've got Mikhail Zabala and Danny Switzer rounding out the top 20. And actually, that is all of the GTP drivers today, just 20 out there today.
Well, maybe I'll be able to give you 20 GTOs of Andrea Schuster. Pole position with JD Rodriguez beside him, and then it'll be Javier Del Olmo in 3rd. Mickey Friesen will be 4th. Joran Van Hicks will be 5th. And Doug Cloud with a nice 6th. Then it's Martin Krajcik in 7th. Christopher Lesniak said he had a bit of an issue out there, but he got 8th in qualifying. Timothy Reed will be 9th, with Josh Brain in 10th. And then we've got 10 more, all qualified in the GTO today. So Jack David Spickett will be 11th, and then Forban Pollock will be 12th. Alan Berteau will be that unlucky 13th, and Emilio Gicciari 14th. Then it's Fabian Youngblood in 15th. Roman Bello in 16th. Robert Plumley makes his return in 17th. Stephanie Leslie will be 18th. Brandon White will be 19th. And that 20th driver, Martin Enrique Revert, for 20 apiece today. 40 cars out there on the field.
40 cars for this track. It's going to be an epic race for sure. They're going to start off before that complicated section that you just mentioned, Craig. The Porsche pace car will start rolling here in just a moment. But it's going to be a challenge for these drivers around here. The track temperature has gone down 1 Celsius down to 87 Fahrenheit. It's only 39% humidity out there for these drivers, so it's a dry track at the high altitudes. That is going to definitely affect the torque the engines are going to be able to produce today, but it's also going to be affecting how the drivers handle the traffic.
Yeah, traffic is one of those tough ones around here. Now, do you take the left? Do you take the right? Which way do you go when you're the prototypes here? You have to make that timing and that decision. You can go both sides on most of the corners, but it's a two-way street. It takes 2 to tango out there. You have to be careful with what you do. And these slow corners, look how quick it is. You come out of nets right into Panasonic. Not a lot of time to make a move here. And what's going to be interesting now, Adam, is how long does Toga Hisada hold them when that pace car goes in? Because the pace car goes in and then it waits a bit.
Yeah, it's quite a long front straight, and the pit entry is about halfway down it. So the Porsche pace car still has not left yet, and you can see the GTOs coming on to the front straight. This gap is going to be a challenge. We've seen incidents in turn 1 before, and that has caused issues for the GTPs. So Togo has to maintain pace speed until the Porsche pace car gets to the line, and it just does now. And Togo takes the leap and absolutely leaves Raul Rocha's Guardia behind. Jacob Reed on the inside is in a really good position for turn 1, and it's almost 3-4 wide in the background as we have some drivers taking some risks out there. As Miguel Quintino Martin trying to make a move to the inside of all those cars there, as well as Ardo Iamaki trying to make a good run out of the corner. It's going to be Togo, Reed, and Rocha's Guardia.
In at the GTOs, around the outside, around the long way in. JD Rodriguez doesn't make it. Schuster gets a hold up. They're 3 wide in the GTO. Rodriguez, Del Olmo, and Schuster. They're going to go 3 wide down into Coca-Cola. This is one hell of a start. JD Rodriguez holds on to it. He takes the lead. Schuster still has an overlap. Can't make it. Now the 19th, but Doug Cloud is trying to harass into Javier Del Olmo. Such an explosive start there. Schuster got a little bit too early, close to the pack. Manages to hold it. Couldn't hold it very much. A great start. Cloud looks to make some move. He goes up 2-3 positions early doors, but that lead change, it is JD Rodriguez leading.
It's a field of regulars in the GTOs. Without Andreas Valentinus, everyone knows that a win here is up for grabs. There's no driver who's going to do a last to first and absolutely dominate today. So everyone is desperate to get the moves done early and try and get some pace. We have to remember that when the GTPs go through this pack, it's going to absolutely split them up. But right now, the GTO's fighting for every position that they can get, as they know that track position is going to matter a lot today here at Fuji.
And they know as well, because of this is the straight we talked about. Welcome to the bullet train! A mistake from Javier Del Olmo. Doug Cloud could not react in time. He goes in. Friesen's caught in it as well. It's a big one. It's a mini big one. And that's taken 3, maybe 4 of the top drivers out.
Oh, heartbreaking. Mickey Friesen's out. Doug Cloud trying to recover. Josh Brain is out. That's 3 drivers who are going to have to take to the pits. I'm guessing Doug Cloud looks like he's still going, but he's got major right front damage. He does not take to the pits, and he's lost the draft at this stage. Oh, almost an incident under braking there. That's Krzysztof Lesniak, who goes way off wide into turn 1. Thorben Pollock as well. So multiple drivers having issues into turn 1 the second time of asking.
Now, Lesniak, unfortunately, was the reason that we actually saw Friesen have an incident there. Friesen didn't get caught up in what happened in that incident between Del Olmo and Cloud. Friesen just got tapped on the rear coming out of Panasonic by Lesniak, not on purpose, of course, just an unfortunate moment. Lesniak taking too much speed. Maybe, again, he took too much speed down into Daichi. Maybe that's a problem right now. He's just getting a bit too hot on the brakes, and can you blame him? It's cold tires, it's cold brakes, it's a hot track out there. You can make that mistake. Here's the big moment in here. You see that little spin, there's that little bump, just sets everyone going, and I believe that was a Lesniak having to slow down for another driver. So it was 2 incidents there, and then Josh Brain at the end just getting caught by a slow Javier. Did he realize that Javier was so slow? It's so tough to see if a driver's slow, especially if they don't have the brakes on.
No, I don't think he realized that Javier was going that slow. Javier had missed a shift because of trying to avoid the incident and was still trying to get going. So, unfortunately for Javier, he's taken significant rear-end damage because of that incident, and he's slow on the track as well. I think he's going to head to the pits this time to try and get some repairs done. Here is Andreas Schuster battling for the lead with JD Rodriguez. JD is going to try not defend this. He's just going to let Schuster go, doing a little bit of swapping. Fabian Ungluth and Alain Berteau in the background also try to do some swapping as well, as AJ Roper goes around to the GTPs. So all of it's cracking off here, but the lead of the GTPs is also fairly tight between Toko Hisada, Jacob Reed, and Rolich Guardia, but those positions haven't changed since they took turn 1.
Yeah, very interesting to see how important and how big this battle in the GTOs have been. Let's just give some love back to the GTPs out there today, as Jacob Reed is trying to battle onto Togo Hisada. Togo has watched a lot of Super GT around here. You've got to feel that you know it. It is almost the creme de la creme of Japanese motorsport when they come here to Fuji, and so many moments have happened on this straight that Togo knows how to defend that car. He puts it to the barrier, then he puts it to the middle, and this is going to be a late break from Jacob Reed. He thought about it. He almost outbrakes himself, has to reposition. Guardia gets there as well. Real good driving by all 3 drivers there, just realizing what they got to be. And again, Hisada puts his car slightly off the racing line just to tell Jacob, I know you're there, I know you're quick, but you're gonna have to do this the right way.
It's probably going to be next lap when the GTPs get to the back of the GTOs. At this stage, the GTOs are still very compacted together, especially the top three are tucked together. That's 2 seconds back to Jack David Spickett. Fairly similar to what we're seeing at the top of the GTPs right now. Ardo Iamaki, though, is kind of bridging the gap between the top three and the top 10 right now, with Ardo only being 6/10 behind Guardia. And so he's definitely within the tire tracks of these top three, but Jacob Reed definitely putting some heavy pressure right now onto Togo.
Yeah, it needs to put the pressure on, and this is where you have to keep the pressure, because as long as you stick with the driver, you fight in the dirty air against them, and then you stay here, you come to here. Panasonic corner, straight to the start. Guardia did not get the best of runs. Now what I call the IndyCar weave is just going on there from Hesada and Reed, and this is a really good opportunity now for Jacob to look for a move. Togo's going to have to use this massive straight, a massive wide straight, used in the Olympic, the Paralympics as well, for track cycling, and this is going to be a very good on-track move. He's gone into Haas, into Daichi, and it won't be Ichiban for Jacob Reed this time. Hesada holds on, and he has to serve a slowdown.
Yeah, a little bit of that rearward wind is starting to affect them, and the hot track as well, so that's going to be a problem for them. There's a nice battle going on in the GTOs for 7th on back to 12th. This is with Alan Berteau, with Fabian Jungbluth in tow. Alan has been putting on a really good defense. Let's see what happens here to AJ Roper. This was an early incident on lap 2. Oh, a money shift for AJ, unfortunately, puts him out of the race.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is not the smoke you want to be seeing at the back of the engine. And that is a blown engine. I reckon that was just probably taking the wrong gear. And these guys aren't looking for the wrong gears. It's interesting to see all these gaps. Baron Grau's gone around, by the way, in the GTPs. We'll look at that later. You see it. Schuster has just lost the lead to JD Rodriguez. They've been side by side, but this battle is going on very quickly. And I'm just looking at that. Timing tower is not lying. The top three are so close together that Jack David Spickett and Martin Craytrade, they're both bubble racing. As now we see Forbes and Pollock get into this battle. Going to go side by side with Roman Bello. Pollock is the car with the blue front. They both got yellow on. Real good defending here from Roman Bello. Pollock still got the overlap here. They don't want to be fighting too much. They'll lose time here to Jungbluth and Berteau.
Bad news for them also is that the GTP leaders just went through turn 1, so they're about to catch up to this pack very shortly. So these drivers are going to have to start thinking about what's in their rearview mirror as the GTPs are going to come through for the first time. Alan Berteau just being very defensive right now, and here is that battle for the lead in the GTPs as they start to approach the GTO traffic going past the first lapper, and Relchos Guardia putting heavy pressure on Hesada, who's still craving a win after last week's trials.
Just looking at Ferran Grau, just losing it. Such a weird place. Well, it's not really that much of a weird place at turn 13. Tried to take too much of the inside, and the inside is a little bit raised, a little bit of sausage curb there. Just hit it, and now we come to traffic. This is Revert, the second GTO that they're going to have to come into. Everyone taking different lines. Jacob Reed is going to just squeeze in at the last moment. Brilliant, a little bit risky, but had to take the move. He's going to try it. You can't go around the outside of Panasonic. He's going to try and set himself up here. 3 cars, 3 different lines, in the corners with multiple opportunities. Hesada's going to give Jacob Reed the toe by accident. He's going to try and help. It's not going to work. Reed is now battling a man with Slipstream, but I think Jacob's going to get this P2 back.
That was a good move from Hesada to move from Reed over to Guardia. Looks like there's been a little bit of a push and shove match in the GTOs in through turn 1 that started to separate this battle up ahead, which is going to make it easier for Reed and Hesada to go through. Hesada and Reed, Hesada over Reed now as Guardia had to give away that position. That's brought Ardo Iamaki into this battle as well, and here they go through the thick of the pack. They're going to start to go around the outside here of the GTOs. The outside line is going to switch over to the preferred line for the next corner, and look at this. Hesada gets his nose cut off. Iamaki's now on the back of them. Hesada with a little bit of a slip. Reed's gonna split Brandon White. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Should be no harm, no foul for Reed, but that pushes Brandon White off track. Reed's gonna take it deep into the corner and cut off Romain Bello.
Yeah, that's not helped him. It's not helped him. He then gets held up from Forbes and Pollock. And now Togo Hesada is just going to keep back in. They're all going to squeeze Forbes and Pollock out of his now. Fantastic there into 13. 14 now into next corner 15. Round the outside goes Jacob. A little bit of a slide. Holds it. Hesada's got nowhere to go. Dechari's trying to give the space he needs to. And that has allowed Jacob to get a little bit of time. But now he's getting held up again. Trying to take the wide and in line into Panasonic. did not work for him. They are still together.
Look at the group coming out of the final corner. Now that's Fernando Serrato who goes around, but it's a gigantic mob headed down the front straight. Absolute mess as they try and weave in and out. We've got Martin trying to make a move on Wells, and as well as Jack Wells and Laust Olsen. It's going to be 3 wide as they go towards turn 1. Who's got the braver on the brakes? It's going to be Laust Olsen deep into 1. He's going to just barely slide. Can't make it work. That's going to be Jack Wells who's going to try and make the move up the inside, which is going to once again become the outside. Tight battles here for the bottom 10 positions.
Hey, I didn't think the animals went 3 by 3, but we almost had another 3 wide. Martin, he has got a slowdown as these guys continue to go through. Laus technically had a slide job there, but he slid himself, lost the position to Jack Wells because of it. Martin holds on to that position after the slowdown. Peralta right behind them. Brendan Lim as well trying to catch up. What can they do? They're going to try and hold onto this position. Jacob Reed, I can report, has the lead over Toga Hitsada. We're going to have to keep eyes on what can happen there. But again, this no chicane Dunlop corner, it is catching drivers out just because of those speed differences. And you see the GTPs just trying to slide into these GTOs. The leaders of the GTOs, they're going to be feeling this very shortly.
Absolutely, very shortly. Who are you talking about? It's Jacob Reed going to the inside now of our leaders of the GTOs. He should be well clear, as should Hisada. The question is Guardia going to be well clear by the time they hit the braking zone? It's going to be close stuff for that to happen. Here comes Guardia. He's going to want it. As you can see, JD Rodriguez making the move on Andreas Schuster, and they're both going to break a little early and allow Guardia to go through as a side-by-side for the lead of the GTPs again. Jacob Reed and Togo Hisada going towards Coca-Cola side-by-side.
Side by side, this is not a corner you want to go side by side through. And Togo Hitsada round the outside of Coca-Cola. As cool as calm as you'll like it. He's got it out of the fridge. It is ice cold. He has taken that drink and he has gone, thank you very much, Jacob Reed. I'll have more of that.
Absolutely, Toga Hisada. I mean, Jacob just has to respect that move. What a move there. See, we were also watching Ferran Aitor Sanchez Galindo duking it out as they're going through traffic 3 wide as they split the cars in the picture-in-picture. And it looks like Ferran Grau's going to regain that position in that battle. What a move there. Holy smokes, the GTPs taking all the risks today early.
Taking all the risk, and that was almost like a civil war out there with teammates having a bit of a battle. Mistake from Hisada. You're on board with Guardia. He could see this happening. Again, the wide line from Jacob Reed. That's a Formula line. You can see that a lot from the Formula drivers. He has that experience. Remember, one of the best open wheelers in iRacing. And now Hisada has to go on the defense once again. As close to the white line as he wants, but that overspeed is going to be so strong. And Jacob Reed will try and do this one more time. Around the outside of Daichi is going to be so tough. It tightens up, and Hisada's giving him the space, but Reed taking it too wide. There's a camber there. They're going to go too wide. Once again, no, they're not. This is a battle of epic proportions, Adam.
This is IMSA Vintage. Absolutely amazing battles at the front of the GTP field. The GTOs have been broken up a little bit. JD Rodriguez came out the best due to that within the first group has gone through the traffic, but they're still dealing with traffic there, our leaders in the GTOs, as they've got the bottom 10 in the GTPs to go through them right now, and that's been breaking up the battles a little bit in the GTOs. The closest battle on track of the GTOs is between 14th and 15th. That's Robert Plumley and Stefan Leslie. Robert Plumley making his return to the series, but this is such a tight battle at the front. Reed still putting the pressure on Hisada. We know Hisada is not strong through this next corner. Is Reed going to try and take advantage? Hisada goes a little deep. He's more conservative this time and gets a better exit.
Get a better exit, and look, he now realizes the line that Jacob's taking. He's starting to copy Jacob, and I don't know if that's going to work for him. He'll go to the right once again. He has to go on the defense. He does the IndyCar weave. What can he do now to do defense? Do you know, I think he's actually got the time this time. Jacob is going to have to try this around the outside, but there's going to be so much overlap. It's going to be so tough to try and make this around the outside. There's Brendan Lim, who's just come out the pit right ahead of them. Shouldn't be an issue. Jacob gets this sorted right this time, and he has a little bit of overlap coming out of Daichi. He's got the inside, but we know what Hisada can do, and Jacob respects it. And Cal Young in the background has just gone around, and that was P5. He's had a moment in the background.
Raul Rocha's Guardia, we're looking at him. Here's the battle for Laust Olsen. He just lost 2 positions to Jack Wells and Miguel Cuenca Martin. as Martin they went 3 wide through turn 1, and it came Lars Olsen came out the worst out of those two. Cal Young, it looks like he's got a black flag that he's trying to serve right now, so he's fallen back a little bit. So very challenging battles for all these drivers out there today. I can report that our leaders of the GTOs are now free and clear of traffic. It's JD Rodriguez, Andreas Schuster, Jorn Van Hicks, and Jack David Spickett all within 4 seconds of each other, so within the draft. So they don't have much work to do to try and gain back on one another. They'll probably be concertinaed up by the time they go down the front straightaway again.
Now, when I was thinking about Fuji, I'm thinking draft train. I'm thinking pack racing. What am I thinking when I think pack racing and IMSA Vintage? The GTOs. They are split up after that lap 1 incident. This is the train. That front car is Brendan Lim. He's a lap down. He's going to let everybody through. He gives them the respect. Everyone gets a slipstream. But now, that unfortunately means that Hisada's left the door open a little bit. Jacob's going to try and squeeze it. It's not there. Also, did you see the little twitch on the brakes there from Guardia? He had to hit the brakes hard there. He almost lost control. Real good action here. That's the first time Hisada has been able to just breathe a sigh of relief and take a normal line through Daichi. But now, a couple back markers. One Javier Del Olmo, and then Doug Cloud's 15 seconds up the road. So they'll get through this with no problem. Guardia gets through as well. Now comes the tough battle down into Dunlop.
Absolutely, and Jacob Reed still putting heavy pressure on Hisada. There's not a lot to look at in other places right now, except for that battle between Jack Wells, Miguel Martin, and Laust Olsen. But they're still all separated a little bit. This is definitely the closest battle on the track, and the one for the highest position in the GTPs. Toko Hisada, Jacob Reed trying to take a wider line to get a better run off of the corner, but the apex is a little bit raised there through the corner, so it's a challenge to get the power down. Similar here, it's coming from an uphill down to a flat, so it's really hard to get a good run off of that final corner if you take it sharp like he did with the late apex. But look at this, Toko Hisada trying to juke Reed, trying to break his draft. Will Reed be able to get by? He hasn't been able to the last 2 times this has happened, and then the previous lap they had Brendan Lim, but look at that, every time he pops out, he just doesn't have the overspeed, and Toko Hisada is strong on the brakes, gets to the apex place, slides it just a little bit, opens up the door for Reed, a little bit of side-by-side contact as they head towards Coca-Cola.
Side by side they go. Now remember, Hisada had the outside overtake last time to Coca-Cola. Jacob does not have the commitment. He'll get a really good run out of Coca-Cola and down into 100R around the outside at the start of it. He retakes the lead. Good little driving, smart driving, a little bit of chess battles there. Sets himself up. Hisada's going to have to do it all over again. And when you look at the relative, you can't see the relative, but if you see a track map, you will know next lap, they will have traffic once again. Hisada has to use this to his advantage now because he's lost that lead, but he also knows he can hold that lead against Jacob Reed. Jacob hasn't been able to hold that lead against Togo.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. They're going to actually have traffic at the final corner. That's Doug Cloud just up ahead. Jacob Reed takes it too deep through that corner, but actually gets a pretty decent run off of it. So he makes up for that with a little bit of use of the tire. Oh, look at that. That's Togo who goes very deep into the final corner, and there's a gigantic wreck going on in turn 1. We just saw it on screen. Romain Bello coming out the best of those, but he has to go off track. So who is that? It's Krzysztof Lesniak who's able to come out the best, but it was 4 wide into turn 1 there. And now it's side by side once again. Toko Hisada and Roches Guardia, who had his first opportunity in a while to try and make a move for another position. Toko takes it too deep into 1, but Guardia can't get a good run off the corner. But now Jacob Reed up ahead has a side by side. Mickey Friesen and Josh Brain, who are going to go nose to tail as they go through Coca-Cola, but that's going to hold up Reed significantly. Toko Hisada with a better run through 100R, but unfortunately for him, it's not going to make much of a difference as you have to slow down significantly for this corner, even in the GTPs.
Yeah, that was almost a moment as well with the GTOs. They all just parked into the side of the corner, almost like they were just bystanders letting an emergency vehicle go by. And that is the one we're looking at now. It's Forben Pollock trying to have a little bit of a battle still with a Lesniak far ahead now. This is Dechari and Bello beside them. A really good aggressive move from Dechari. Really tough to make it at nets. He's made it stick though. Forben could not get that move done. So this is actually better for Forben, though, because now he gets the run, but he can't get the line.
Oh.
Back into this. Lead change as well. Schuster retakes the lead in the GTOs. JD Rodriguez had nothing, and Johan Van Hicks right behind. He's +2 for the day. He's just waiting for the opportunity.
It took him 4 laps to get back to the bumper of JD Rodriguez, and as soon as he did, he was able to get that pass done. JD's going to fall back in line behind Schuster and try and follow him through until they make it to the next lap. I can report that Thorben Pollock just made quite the lunge on Detari into turn 1, but can't quite make it stick. Look at how close this top 3 is now. The GTOs as the GTP's top I was going to say have separated a little bit, but Jacob Reed has started to gotten the better of traffic, while as Hisada and Guardia are still nose to tail, but they're just trying to navigate the mid-pack right now in the GTOs.
Gap between P1 and P3 in the GTOs, 0.4 of a second. Gap between P1 and P3 in the GTPs, 1.2 second. Carlos Peralta, I can report, has gone around in the GTPs. We're keeping our eyes on what Lars Olsen is doing right now, as he's trying to battle Cao Young. Lost the position to Cao Young. He's also got Martin right ahead of them, and Martin's looking at Jack Wells as well. 4 cars, 5 cars if you include Ferran Grau right now. 5th down to 10th, and now they've come through some of the traffic. They get a small breather. There'll be more traffic coming up shortly, but this is so tough now for if you're a driver like Laus or Ferran, because you have to catch up to these drivers without traffic assistance. And on such a slipstream track like this is what you need, is you need side by side.
And look at this, Jorn Van Hicks is going to go 3 wide into turn 1, is he? He takes it deep on the brakes, but JD has enough room to turn in. So it's now going to be 2 wide between Van Hicks and Schuster. Is Schuster going to give this one up into Coca-Cola to allow the 2 of them to go through with speed? Yes, he is. So this allows Van Hicks to be able to take Coca-Cola at speed, which means they're not going to lose a lot of time to JD Rodriguez. You can lose the draft through Coca-Cola if you're side by side and a driver's up ahead of you. So you have to be careful there. Andreas Schuster playing the long game.
Do you know what? This straight is the straight we've just seen with the overtake. So important if Schuster makes a mistake. It's so important out there because at one stage of the race, I just counted all but 6 cars on the start-finish straight. That is how long that straight is right now, and that just goes to show you how vital it is. Hisada, you can see on the timing tower, hasn't had the best of luck. They will be coming to these leaders very shortly, but Schuster's having some problems out there. Martin, he's trying to battle on Jack Wells. They're coming into the traffic yet again. He's going to have to try and rely on this traffic. Real good driving. Martin, he has lost a position since the start of the race. Jack Wells has made up 6. Once again, qualifying not working for Jack, but the race pace is so strong for him today.
Absolutely. He said in the chat before the race that he was hoping that his race pace was going to be better than his qualifying pace. So far, that is the case, but he's got a very tough thing to navigate right here. He's going to split Romain Bello and Emilio Dicari as the 2 of them battling for the 10th position here. Oh, look at this. Martin around the outside. He's going to make that work, but that was a stressful moment for Bello as he was a little bit deep on the brakes. Cal Young's going to take a very deep lunge to stick with these 2 drivers up ahead of him, but it's going to take the entire straightaway for him to gain that gap back on speed.
Yeah, I don't think that's worked, though, because he'd had to go and take that lunge, lost a lot of the speed. Does he have the speed to catch up to Martin right here? I don't think so, but he's been able to pull away from Lars Olsen and Ferran Grau, who's right behind the yellow and blue, and the blue and white just there, and Ferran Grau's going to try and make a move, and cool as you like, he gets it done. Can he hold this? Does he go a bit too hot in? He does. Lars Olsen's going to respond to this because of that move, and he holds that position. It's so tough there. If you're wondering why the drivers are struggling at Daichi today, but you can see it. It is quite a tight right-hander. It is sort of like a hairpin, but then it straightens up and you get another kink. And because of the camber there, you can make the mistakes. Around the outside is so tough, and making the late lunges, there's not enough curving there to you to actually take all the speed off to start and complete the corner.
Cal Young to the inside of Martin here as they head towards the more complicated portion of the track. And Cal Young makes a nice move up the inside. So he's now trying to pursue Jack Wells up ahead. So Cal Young slicing through the pack back up to his starting position in 7th position. Goes to the inside of the ever defensive Alain Berteau. Berteau's pushed a little bit wide through that corner. He's going to open up the door for Jack Wells to take it to the inside once again and try and stay, or rather Martin to take it to the inside once again to try and stay in this battle. You can see Laus Olsen slides a little bit, so does Ferran Grau off of the final corner. They're going to be side by side down the straightaway.
Yeah, they're going to be side by side, and it's so early. Grau's got the overspeed. He's going to take that position. Now, if Laus gets a clear call, he'll slip right into the back of Ferran Grau. Get a little bit of extra speed. He's not doing it. Ferran realizes he's just going to hold on. This is going to be really tough for Laus to try and make that move. He's actually going to try the over-under, but there's so much time to wait for Ferran to slow down. He cannot make it. He's going to have to accept that he's lost that position. He has lost where he started. He started 8th. He's now 9th. It is so tight out there, and I can't report this at the battle I was just looking at. Togo's not had a good time through the traffic, and he's not had a very good time full stop. He's 4 seconds behind Jacob Reed. He caught Guardia. Guardia's actually caught him right behind.
Yeah, the top battle in the GTPs, Jacob has just cut through the traffic so much more effectively than Togo and Guardia. So unfortunately for them, unless Reed falls afoul of some incidents, Jacob's got a lot of good race pace today. He's also been able to cut through the traffic well, so it's gonna be a struggle for them to catch back up to him on raw pace alone. One of the other challenges of Daiichi is that it's a descending turn, so as you're making the turn with the front wheels, the track is falling away, so you're losing grip on the track as that happens. And then, to make matters worse, there's that little bit of a raise in the inside of the corner compared to the outside, so the left rear tire ends up with very little grip, and that can allow you to spin the left rear tire on exit, which can make it a challenge for you to try and get power down coming out of the corner if you take an alternate line. So it's just a really challenging corner to go through. It takes a long time to master. I can tell you I haven't.
Well, I'll make you feel worse, because the original layout of this track in 1965 up until 1974, the run down to Daiichi was another 100 meters further, and Daiichi was actually a banked corner, so it was practically flat out in the old days. So they actually carried all the speed out of that start-finish straight down into that banking corner before they came down to what was a section that is not here nowadays. They do a couple more corners before they would come to what is now the 100R. So I know that Daiichi is so tough nowadays, but thank you, Japan, in 1974 for thinking, we need to change this because it's too dangerous as a massive high-speed banking corner. Thankfully, they don't have to take the speeds through here today, but I think Guardian might have the speed through Hosada, but yet again, he just can't get the exit out of Panasonic.
Top 3 in the GTOs are still nose to tail, separated by 0.6 apiece. So JD Rodriguez, Van Hicks, and Andreas Schuster. Van Hicks has been able to make the move on Schuster and get to that next spot, so fortunately for him, looks like Schuster had to brake quite a lot for Aitor Sintes Galindo, who had a bad final corner. As we see right there, tight battle between Guardia and Hosada, and here's another tight battle with Cal Young and Jack Wells.
Yeah, Cal's going to have to try this around the outside. It's going to be tough. He's actually got the line, but he's actually lost control of the car. Well done, though, for Cal Young for holding on to this. And they're going to go side by side down in turn 2 and now turn 3 Coca-Cola corner. This is going to be tough if Jack Wells can hold on to it. He's not Togo Hosada, and he cannot make that move around the outside of Coca-Cola. So Cal Young, technically, with a de facto around the outside move at Daiichi, really impressive how you see it, because he had to scrub the speed and get the car turned in. That is a no-tool feat there. Real good from Cal to get that P5 back.
Leading the GTOs tight now as Schuster's lost a little bit of time to Van Hicks. So now Van Hicks right on the back of JD Rodriguez as they're headed towards the second half of the track here. Report the Guardia and Hosada still battling for that second position in the GTPs, just now entering the front straightaway. So battles all over the track as we see Van Hicks taking quite a bit of a cut out of that corner. And here is Peralta splitting the two of them for the moment. Shouldn't be a factor, as Van Hicks should be able to drive his normal lines, as Peralta should be out of there very quickly.
Yeah, but Peralta just almost went to the back of JD Rodriguez, and I'm just going to praise what Van Hicks did there into turn 13, because he knew Peralta was going to make that move, or he knew Peralta would have the speed to make the move. So he set himself up, and instead of trying to cut the corner as tight as he could, he decided to go a little bit wider just to give himself the over-under. It's not the best of moves and best of lines when you come to that corner. However, it worked well because it saved him the time that he was going to lose had he got a little bit squeezed. Unfortunately, due to what happened with Peralta and JD Rodriguez, he had to back out of it. These guys aren't backing out of it, though. Guardia is still trying to catch up to Togo Hosada, but these two have now lost another second in their battles and the traffic to Jacob Reed. I think these guys may have to accept that Jacob has had the best of traffic runs here today, and there's not a lot they can do.
Another off track there for Hosada rather, as he puts his left tires into that deep grass out there on the outside of that corner. So Hosada struggling a little bit as we have a three-way battle in the GTOs, 3 wide going across the stripe. That's Thorben Pollock with the lead over Romain Bello and Emilio Decari. This is all battling for the last spot of the top 10. This is 10th position as they go into turn 1. That's a good run from that was Olesniak for a moment, but then Decari as well. So Romain Bello is going to try and hold it strong to the inside and going to get through there cleanly.
Yeah, really good move from Pollock as well to hold on to that position. Again, he did not have the right racing line into Daichi. He managed to keep it stuck though. Real good run here from Tachari, but the line's not there. You can get a really good run on the exit of 100R there at turn 5. It's a double apex really. It's turn 4 and turn 5. You get a good run out of turn 5, and you can look to try and set yourself up for a move into the hairpin. Did not work. Kevin Parrish got a little bit caught out there. That's the racing line. Did not expect what was. I don't think the drivers knew he was coming there. They're so focused in what's happening, and a little bit of a tap there between Paris and Bello, not on purpose, of course. That is going to cause a little bit of an issue, and Fulton Pollock might be enjoying this right now.
Togo Asada has lost second position to Guardia, as Guardia made a good run through Coca-Cola and made the move around the inside of 100R, so Asada left that door open, and that's allowed Guardia to sneak his way through. And I've been taking a look at the timing tower for the GTOs, and I see someone who's 1 second back of the top 3. Jack David Spickett has entered the chat.
Jack David Spickett has entered the chat. It's going to be very interesting. Laus Olsen, don't tell me it's happened to Laus Olsen. No, it has happened to Laus Olsen.
Oh, he's beached.
He's gone around. He is not beached. We don't want to see this. How has he got himself beached there? If you want to know where he's got himself beached, it is the chicane at Dunlop Corner that we're not running. We're seeing Toga Hisada trying to battle right now. Guardia, it's not happening right now.
Yeah, Laus was beached. He had his rear wing shoved up on top of the barricade that is blocking off the chicane. So he got himself beached there, and he had to take a tow. It's heartbreaking. Look at this. Guardia had to take to the brakes to avoid Brandon White there as they go through 100R. Sesada trying to stay strong and stay on the back of Guardia, who's going to have to brake heavily for Robert Plumley here. Can Hisada try and find a way around? These two have gained back half a second on Jacob Reed, but the traffic's still not playing to their favor.
Still not playing to their favors, and really, Hisada's had the worst of the traffic. Yeah, he's in P3. Great.
Oh, Craig, sorry. The lead of the GTO is about to change hands again. Van Hicks got a good run on JD Rodriguez. He's going to stick his nose out. He's about half a car ahead as they go on the brakes, but JD's strong on the brakes. Might have been too early, actually, for Van Hicks, but he's able to release it and take the apex as JD Rodriguez locks up the right front and takes it through turn 1. So Van Hicks able to get that move done on Rodriguez.
And a mistake from Guardia, and Hisada then got held up as well. So he's not going to be making a move here. We got to keep our eyes on JD Rodriguez to see what he is able to do this time. Through 100R they go, and he does have a good run here, but the final part at turn 5 just could not make anything happen, and that is so tough. These GTOs, they get washed out between 4 and 5. Hisada, though, we'll talk about that in a moment. Washed out of 4 and 5, gets a little bit thrown off. Hisada's got the move stuck through the inside. He's back into second. He loves the start of this track.
Absolutely. A gentleman's game there with him. He forced Guardia to take a late dive and a hard break into Daichi. So unfortunately for him, Guardia just went way too deep into the corner. Hisada did the over-under and said, thank you very much, and regains a second position. Jorn Van Hicks still trying to hold off JD Rodriguez, as JD's been strong throughout most of the course, but this last corner he has not had the best of runs out of, and he slides it onto the AstroTurf and is going to lose about 1/8 of the straightaway of draft and speed. He finally regains and matches speed with Van Hicks, and now he's going to try and gain the speed all the way back to try and make a move. It'll be late on the brakes for JD, but can he get it done? He's going to take a look to the inside. 1 second back to Schuster, who's half a second back to Spickett. As you can see, all 4 of our leaders there in one frame going through turn 1.
And if you're Schuster and Spickett, you're going to like that JD Rodriguez just made that late move, because they have to be backed up. They've lost a little bit of time, and Schuster's just trying to catch up now. And now the top 4 might be glued together. They're getting closer. It's getting very tense out there, because it's going to be a 4-car battle with 6 minutes to go. Adam, where have these 35 minutes gone? I don't know what we've had.
Absolutely. Let's see what happened here to Laus Stolze. This is how Laus got beached. He slides it and then just... and rear tires off the ground. He can't get moving. Heartbreak for Laus, as he had to take to the pits. He's back on track now. There wasn't much damage done, but unfortunately, he just couldn't get moving. Taking a look once again at our battle for the lead of the GTOs. JD Rodriguez, Jorn Van Hicks, Andreas Schuster, Jack David Spickett, 5 minutes 45 to go.
I tell you what, unfortunately, that's Laos. That might be a not top 10 moment for iRacing. And we've had a couple top 10 moments here for iRacing as well in this. And Audi going to deliver one more opportunity because Van Hicks has to have a run here. Wide goes Rodriguez once again. And now the wedge is going to punch a hole through with 5:20 to go. Van Hicks will have to speed. JD cannot defend this. There's no point trying to defend this. Through he goes. Now keep your eyes on Schuster and Spickett. I think JDS has lost a bit of time. Schuster, fastest GTPO time right now of 33.6. A tenth faster than anyone else. He gets to the inside. Van Hicks takes the lead. Rodriguez has to hold on. But Schuster now is in this fight. And on the cockpit we go. Over the shoulder. He is in touching distance.
That was the fastest lap of any GTO this race, and he did it at exactly the right time. He's brought himself into the battle for the lead for the final couple of laps. It's going to be a challenge for them to try and navigate this as Jacob Reed coming up behind 1.5 seconds back. He's got Kevin Parrish between himself and Hisada and Roches Guardia, so it's quite a big gap now, 5.5 seconds between Reed and Hisada. So Reed should be able to wait a little bit if he has to pause. Let's see what happens here because Reed has a lot of speed coming in right behind. You're going to see him off the right-hand side here as he's going to sneak his way through, and he's going to hold up Schuster a little bit through this corner as JD Rodriguez very strong, very smoky on the brakes there, and Schuster goes up to the inside of Reed, trying not to lose too much time to our leaders here. He's got about half a second between himself and Rodriguez as Reed's is trying to navigate his way through. Reed's going to sneak his way through, and JD Rodriguez not much of an opportunity here. Jack David Spickett still too far back to play. And look at this battle with Thorben Pollock and Emilio Dicari in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, we're seeing Emilio Dicari trying to catch up to Thorben Pollock, who's the man in picture right now. Is he going to be able to do anything? I don't know, but is JD Rodriguez going to be able to do something? I think so. And here they go again, side by side. They're going to have 2 more laps left after this lap, and this is going to be tough for Van Hicks to hold on to it. He cannot. It's going to be the last man to make the overtake, and if it follows this process, Van Hicks will get it next lap. Rodriguez will get it the final lap. This is going to be an interesting game of chess on the penultimate lap for these three. Around goes Hisada, around goes Guardia. Is there a move for Guardia here coming into the hairpin? Just keep your eyes up ahead. There is not, and nothing here. 3-car battle for the lead, 2-car battle for P2 in the GTP. What more do you want on a Saturday afternoon?
Not much more you can want on a Saturday afternoon as these drivers battling. Look at this. Guardia looking to the outside of Hisada. Hisada slides through the corner. Guardia's going to take it deep on the brakes, and he's going to take the position away. Hisada can't hold strong on the outside. Move Guardia up to second position. The question is, can he hold it on the next straightaway? 2 minutes 30 to go. As Jacob Reed's coming around the final corner now, so it's going to be 2 more laps for these drivers. Jacob Reed on the penultimate lap as we look back at our leaders in the GTOs, all separated, the 3 of them, by a quarter of a second apiece, with Jack David Spickett 1 minute 0.6 back, hoping that these guys make some sort of crazy move in turn 1 and bring him into the play too.
Up ahead, Toga Hisada, you can't see it. He just made the overtake. There he is. Toga Hisada will take the overtake on Guardia. That is some chess moves. Guardia realizes the situation, and Togo's got a bit wide. We've got to go back to the GTOs, though, because Van Hicks is going to try and do this around the outside. He goes wide. There is no way he can make the stick. The gap is still there. There's no overlap, and JD Rodriguez holds on to it. Is that a benefit for Van Hicks? Is it a benefit that Toga Hisada's retaken the lead? Hard on the brake for JD Rodriguez. And Hiramaki goes around. He tried to catch him, but he's having struggles. Everybody's getting bunched up here. Guardia's still going. You will see both battles in picture right now.
JD Rodriguez still not part of this battle for the GTO lead. As look at the pressure that Guardia is putting onto Hisada. Such tense stuff. Oh, look at this. JD Rodriguez a little bit wide here. This is going to open up an opportunity for Van Hicks to carry some speed through. The question is he going to try and make a move? Not this time. He's going to wait as we see Guardia still harrying Hisada through the final sectors of the course. They've got some traffic up ahead of them that they're going to have to contend with. Hisada has not been navigating the traffic as well as he could today, so that's going to give an opportunity to Guardia as they come onto the final straightaway. They got a lot of drafting help, as you can see Hisada and Guardia taking the split there. Very tense stuff right now. And look behind. Oh, that's a spinning driver. That is Martin, who was in 7th position, battling with Jack Wells in 8th, and he's took a spin as they head onto the front straightaway for the penultimate time. JD Rodriguez moving to the inside, trying to give those GTPs some room and trying to force Van Hicks to get a pick. But look at this, they're side by side already, and Schuster with a head of steam behind. He's not going to be able to catch up by the time they get to turn 1, but if they battle through turn 1, he's going to be right there.
Last of the late breakers, you can't late break in the GTOs, but both of them have late broke, and now they're making mistakes, and JD Rodriguez holds it. Schuster almost lost it. He could not make it. He could not make it stick, and Rodriguez will take the lead. Now that is something we were not expecting. That was some great mind games. It was a game of chicken, and it has not worked for Van Hicks. Where does he make the move now? There's only a couple opportunities he's got left, Adam. It's going to be very tough, but there's no more opportunities for Jacob Reed. He has this victory.
Yeah, Jacob Reed being very cautious here with Doug Cloud, trying to make sure that he doesn't lose this race in the final couple of corners. Doug with a struggle of a race himself, but Jacob Reed is going to power it home. He's going to stay behind Doug and let Doug finish another lap. So Jacob Reed is going to win here at Fuji, a commanding victory, 5 seconds over Hisada and Guardia. Those two, though, on the front straightaway. Guardia is going to look to the inside and can't get it done, just barely, 0.04 of a second.
0.04 of a second. We've got to get back to the GTOs. Rodriguez had a couple lockups here, and they're going to go to the final corner. There is air to punch here. Van Hicks is going to have to get so close. He's not close enough, but we know how late this start-finish line is, and a bit of weaving from JD to try and shake the toe. He may get a victory here. We're going to have to look at the stats to see when the last time he was. He will get it with a fantastic drive. JD Rodriguez will win in the GTOs with Van Hicks in P2, and Andreas Schuster will take 3rd.
What a finish for them. Timothy Reed is going to be able to hold. He's not going to be able to pass Martin Krajcik, as Krajcik will come home in the 5th position. A good finish for them. Romain Bello, Emilio Dakari, and Thorben Pollock all still battling here for the GTO top 10, the last position in 10th position. But look at that exit that Pollock gets off at the final corner. He's going to be able to come home with 10th, but is Bello going to be able to make the move on Dachari for 11th position? They're side by side, and it is going to be Bello who's going to take 11th over Dachari.
Brilliant driving there. You see Robert Plumley coming home into 13th position as well. All the last remaining drivers just setting the times. But what a drive and a wow from Tachari. He knows that was a fantastic little scrap there. Doug Cloud's going to be the last man over the line. The Zamboni, Adam, it's got no front today. It's showing all the bare bones. But what a drive. Togo Hisada almost had that. When you can go toe-to-toe with one of the best open wheelers in iRacing, you've got to put your hats off there for Togo.
Absolutely. Togo Hisada, a great finish for him. That's going to take us to our results. Jacob Reed won this race 5 seconds ahead of Togo Hisada. And then only 4/100ths of a second behind was Raul Guardia. They're about a half car length separated on the line between the Togo Hisada and Guardia. Ardo Iamaki comes home in 4th position, with 5th being Cal Young. Jack Wells in 6th spot with Farron Grau in 7th. And then Aitor Santos Galindo and Ilka Codesalo in 9th. Miguel Quinces Martin, after that spin on the penultimate lap, comes home in 10th position. Fernando Serrato in 11th, with Peralta in 12th. Davide Ricciardi in the 13th spot, and then Ryan Minslav is going to be the last driver on the lead lap. Drivers 1 lap down are Kevin Parrish, Brendan Lim, and Last Olsen, with Danny Spitzer having a late incident, and then Mikhail Zabala and AJ Roper did not finish.
Well, in the GTOs, I'm looking at the stats, and it is the first time for JD Rodriguez. I had to do that suspense there. He takes his first victory on the broadcast. Just manages to hold off Johan Van Hicks with a really good game of chess between the two drivers. Andreas Schuster, a few more laps. What could have been? He gets that P3 after starting on pole. And JDS is +7 into 4th. Martin Krajcik will take 5th with Timothy Reed in 6th. Then Alan Berteau will take 7th. Olesniak will finish 8th after that first lap incident. Fabian Jungbleth will be 9th. And Thorben Pollock will take 10th. Then it's going to be Roman Mello in 11th, who just got that a move over Emilio Tachari, who finishes 12th. Robert Plumley in his return goes +4 into 13th. Stefan Leslie will go into 14th as well. Brandon White will take 15th, and then Doug Cloud finishes in 16th after that incident and reverts the only driver who goes a lap down, as Friesen, Brain, and Del Olmo got caught in that lap 1 incident, and they will finish 18th, 19th, and 20th respectively.
And that's going to take us to our first interview, and that is with the winner of the GTOs, JD Rodriguez. JD, we were looking at our stats, and we do believe this is the first time you've won on a broadcast. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think it's the first time.
What a victory you had out there today. Hard fought between yourself and Hicks, and at the end, Schuster as well. Wow, how was it out there with all the traffic and the battling? This is such a hard track to maintain good speed in the GTOs. Lots of places to make mistakes out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm exhausted. Like, sincerely, I'm so tired. It was so stressing. The traffic here is key because you can lose time in almost every corner. So as soon as the first traffic came early in the race, I tried to get into first and maybe get lucky with the traffic and break the toe with Jordan and the rest, but it was impossible, so I had to fight until the very end, until the start-finish time.
And how was it out there with the traffic today? We didn't see that many incidents between GTOs and GTPs. I know it's a little bit of a struggle through the last sector where the GTOs tend to be faster than the GTPs. How was it trying to maintain speed while following the GTPs at that section?
Yeah, I mean, my particular experience was really fine today. I had to apologize to Kevin Paris because I closed the door, I think, too late and forced him out. I had to watch it, but sorry anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult, but the GTPs were very patient, I think, today. So yeah, it's a very wide track, but on the last sector, the Nissans are even faster than us. It's almost the same speed, pretty much. A lot of slow corners, they struggle with traction at the end of corners there, a lot of negative cambers. So yeah, I mean, but even in the fast part of the track, it's difficult to get lapped because even, I mean, on the long sweeper, right-hander, it's super easy, obviously, but turn 2 is also difficult because they lose a lot of time if they wait behind us. So sometimes they go for the move, but we have to open up and lose a lot of time. So yeah, it's really difficult, but I think I was lucky overall with the traffic.
Well, JD, fantastic win out there today. Your first broadcast win. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank all the GTPs for not crashing me out. Because yeah, I was really scared. I thought I made so many mistakes on Wednesday and Friday, getting in front of the GTPs and messing them up. So finally I could stay clean for the race. So yeah, congratulations to Jacob as well. And let's hope this is not the first one. And also I want to thank Audrius because he wasn't here this week, so I could win. Because I'm sure it would have been impossible with him around here. So yeah, thanks to Audrius especially.
Well, JD, oh man, great victory today, and we look forward to seeing you when you join us next time.
Thank you very much.
And that's going to take us to Toko Hisada, who finished second position in the GTPs, just 4/100th of a second over Guardia. Craig, you're with Hisada.
I'm with Hisada here today. It was fantastic driving and battling out there today, Togo. You were just too short out there with Jacob, but you had a fantastic overtake on him through Coca-Cola.
Yeah, just the setups is very different in me and him, and so it's very tough to make a move. So I have to make a move in awkward place. It's just no normal place. I have to make a move, so the little bit risky, but Jacob is very fair. Left me a room, and it's gonna be a very that was very great battles.
It was fantastic, and then battles with Raul Guardia. It looked like at the end he had you. It was very close out there. Were you trying to keep P3 before the final lap? Were you trying to play chess that long straight? We know that long straight, how vital it is. Were you waiting for the final lap to make that move?
Yeah, just I'm not good to make a move or run fast with the traffic. So the track position is key for me. I'm not confidence to deal with traffic with this cross battlings. Just in front, it's easy to block and it's easy to take second place. I think at a point. So that I just do that. Yep.
Now we know you won at Suzuka, a pole position here, a P2 here. I know what your answer is, but which of the two tracks do you prefer?
It's a difficult question. It's Fuji's very Fuji's great track to race with much class racing, but Suzuka is my favorite still. So I take Suzuka. Yep.
I thought so. I thought that would be the answer there. I think everyone would agree on that. Togo, congratulations on your P2. Is there anybody you would like to say hello to?
GSRC broadcast team and the Camel GT communities and especially the push shot racing team, because they are sharing the setups. They are sharing how to drive fast. Yeah, teach me. So thank you, especially the Ferran Glau. Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, as per usual, Togo, arigatou gozaimasu from me, and we look forward to seeing you later down the road. That was Togo Hisada, P2 today in the GTPs. Adam, I think you may have found an Aitor Sintes Galindo somewhere.
Yes, I did. Aitor Sintes Galindo finishing P8 today. Lots of challenges out there as far as traffic and the chaos of Daiichi. What are your thoughts about this race today, Aitor?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a very tough race in terms of pace. Well, I've been struggling with pace all week. All life, I would say, because it's I always struggle with the last two corners and the last section in general. But yeah, it's been I managed to do a P8, capitalizing on some mistakes from some people. So yeah, I'm not exactly happy in terms of pace, but happy in terms of result. The top 10. I think I wouldn't expected much more, to be honest. But yeah, it's been a chaotic race, honestly. All things considered, 40 cars today. So yeah, could be better, but yeah, happy somehow.
And next week we head to Oschersleben. I don't believe we've visited that track yet. And it's a 60-minute race as well. So what are your thoughts heading into next week?
Oh, don't tell me 60 minutes. Okay. We've been Oschersleben before, and yeah, it was pretty tight in terms of traffic. Being right now, it's for the base content right now. I think we should expect a bit more of participation. I think the first time we ran there was like 30 cars, which was mostly okay. But yeah, still the traffic was very tight. A 60-minute race with a pit stop. It's gonna be a very, very, very interesting race altogether. It's gonna be, well, if you get damage, which we'll probably get because it's gonna be one of those. You manage to get back on track. So we'll see how it works. But yeah, overall, it's a very small track, very tight, and yeah, expect a lot of camel chaos.
Well, Aitor, P8 today, great finish. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you know?
Well, as usual, thanks guys for the interview and the broadcast. My team is IMSA Racing today. Have been amazing. And yeah, the camel community as well, as usual. Amazing guys. So yeah, thanks guys, and see you next week at Oschersleben.
That was Aitor Sintes Galindo, a top 10 today, finishing P8 in the GTPs. And that's going to wrap us up for today. Want to give a big thank you to the team, Craig, Daniel, Christian, and Dougie. And make sure to check out our social media, website, and merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Happening in just about 5 minutes is going to be... next week is Oschersleben, as was mentioned. That's actually going to be a 60-minute race. That is March 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern. And happening in about 5 minutes on GSRC is PT Autosport. So don't go anywhere. Just click on that GSRC logo and hop into that live stream as we're about to get started. And for the races that are happening the rest of this weekend, it's going to be the next one after that. It's going to be Lotus 79s at Hockenheim. That's tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern. And don't forget to not miss the other races that are shown here on your screen. We hope you've enjoyed joining us today as much as we've enjoyed bringing this racing to you, and we hope to see you back again soon. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.